next we have the great honor and privilege of talking to Tom Jordan, who was a member of the U.S. Navy, and we're going to find out about the stories that he tells. Tom, when did you enter the Navy?
Well, Monday morning, December 8th, I went to the post office, didn't go to work, got an application, enlisted in the Navy, went to work, brought it home, had my mother sign it that night, because I was only 17.
Okay.
She had to sign for me. And brought it back to the recruiter the next morning. He says, you go home now, we're giving you 6 days to wind up all your private affairs. If you have a car, sell it, whatever you have to do. And be back to the post office on the 15th, because you're going by train to New Haven, and that's where you're going to be sworn in. And I went to New Haven that morning. About 8, 10 of us got sworn in from Bridgeport. Got on the train New Haven to Newport, Rhode Island, to boot camp on the 15th. And I think we were over 6 weeks only. Christmas and New Year's of 41.
Oh, wow.
And then we went by train to Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I was assigned to the USS Wichita, a heavy cruiser that was in port.
Okay, here's your, this wonderful, wonderful commemorative. Now, why is there a Wichita, witch on a rocket? That it was kind of a nickname for a logo?
That's our logo.
That's your logo. Oh,
that was on the big 8-inch gun shells.
Okay.
So the witch is riding your gun shell to the enemy.
Wow. What made you want to enlist in the Navy?
Well, as a kid, I always wanted to go to sea.
Okay, great.
But I got rid of the cowboy kick, being a cowboy. I wanted to be a sailor.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
And I just love stories about sailing ships and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, now when you finished with your basic training, where did they send you?
I went aboard the ship in Brooklyn Navy Yard, February 12th.
Okay.
From there, we went to Casco Bay, Maine. Oh, the funny thing is, we went up Long Island Sound. And we anchored off of Bridgeport.
Oh my goodness, where you grew up.
And when I got up to Casco Bay, I had a letter from my mother waiting. And she says, about 3 or 4 days ago, I was walking to Seaside Park, because we only lived 5 blocks from the park, and that was a nice walk. Yeah. She says, I saw a big Navy ship out there. I thought it was mine.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, we met the battleship Washington and 5 destroyers of the cruiser Tuscaloosa. And we proceeded to go to sea. We went over to Orkney Islands in Scotland, the Scapa Flow.
You did?
And we operated with the British Home Fleet.
Oh my goodness.
And from there we took convoys up over the Arctic Circle, through the German subpack to Murmansk and Archangel. And the Russians wouldn't allow our warships into their ports. They would come out and escort the merchant ships in. Oh. They didn't want our whatever, why they were so secretive about it, I have no idea. And we had quite a battle going up there one time. And the KG-5, which is a King George V, a big battleship that was right in front of us, and the fog comes up at the blink of an eye.
Oh, okay.
So what they do, tow spars, so you have lookouts on the bow of each ship watching the spar in front of them kick up the water so you're right in line, because we could, no radio communication, no lights, no nothing.
Wow.
And the next thing we saw was a big flash, I mean an enormous flash. We thought the battleship got hit by a German torpedo submarine. Well, we found out about 10 minutes later, after the oil started burning on the water, the sailors hollered, help, help, that one of the destroyers, a British destroyer, went across the bow of the battleship after a submarine that they got a ping on, and cut it right in half, and all the depth charges went off and blew the bow off the battleship.
Oh my goodness.
Ships.
Oh.
And I have no idea how many sailors they lost.
Oh.
A matter of minutes in that icy water, it just froze.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that must have been terrifying to see. Wow.
That was the first action I saw.
Yeah. Well, what happened after that?
Well, coming back, the Germans had a big battleship Tirpitz in Norway in one of the fjords. And the British reconnaissance planes radioed the fleet that was up in Russia that the battleship and several destroyers were under steam, and they might come out and cut us off as we went back over the top of Norway. So we had to do flank speed, and we made smoke. That means the destroyer went around the bigger ships and actually made smoke, so you couldn't see the big ships. You couldn't see nothing, just a cloud of smoke on the horizon.
Wow.
So they couldn't target you. But fortunately, they never did come out. But getting out of there at flank speed for hours, one of our shafts broke on our propellers, so we had to go into Rosyth Navy Yard on the Firth in Scotland.
Oh.
And just as we're coming up there, the train was going over the trestle, and it literally stopped. I get emotional.
That's good. That's, yeah.
And everybody opened the windows and hung out and said, "Welcome, Yanks."
Oh.
Tore paper up. And
Oh, wow.
I can visualize it right now.
What a vivid memory. Oh, my goodness.
And so we got there, we stayed there just about a month, getting the hull of the ship straightened out and everything else. So I made liberties in Edinburgh, Scotland.
You did.
I was fortunate enough to get down to London. Everybody in the crew didn't because we didn't have enough time. But I was fortunate enough to get on the Flying Scotsman. That was a cracked steam engine of Europe at that time.
Oh,
I
wow.
went to London for a weekend.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
saw some of the devastation from the Brits
Yeah.
that they were being bombed with.
And this was 42?
42.
Okay.
This was in, let's see, the end of July of 42.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I've seen...
The big convoy we took to Russia, the biggest one ever, PQ-17, they wrote a book about that.
Oh,
We lost so many merchant ships.
oh, wow. What was... You had mentioned before, certainly on like the West Coast, there were, and North, there were all kinds of German submarines. How about on the East Coast? You know, between...
Oh, there were submarines down in the Caribbean, in the South Atlantic. Oh, yeah, we have patrols watching them down there, too. Yep, absolutely,
Yeah,
yep.
And so, oh my goodness. So what do you remember about Edinburgh?
Well, it's absolutely a gorgeous city.
Okay.
Right in the center of it, call it Princess Street Gardens because that's the main street, Princess Street. It's a beautiful park dominated by Edinburgh Castle.
Oh.
The enormous castle right there. And if history serves me right, they were under siege for hundreds of days by the British, way back when the British conquered
Scotland in the 1700s, yeah.
It's absolutely a gorgeous city, and that's where Holyrood Palace is, and that's one of the Queen's palaces in Scotland.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Right down the street from the cathedral there. They call it the Royal Mile.
Okay.
The church is at one end and the palace at the other end. Yep.
Wow, nice.
And I met a young lady there, as well sailors.
Oh, good for you.
And her and I have been writing 70 some odd years now.
Really?
Her daughter, last Christmas, her daughter wrote me a letter and says, "Tom, Mom has macular degeneration, so I have to read her letters and write her letters that she tells me."
Good.
My wife and I have been over to visit her.
Oh, that's
My
wonderful.
mother's been over to visit her.
Oh.
My son and his wife went over to visit her.
Oh, look at this bond.
She got married and had 2 children, married a Royal Air Force fella.
Yeah.
And she joined the Royal Air Force herself during the war.
She did.
Yep, yep.
Oh, what a fabulous friendship. Oh, my goodness, it's wonderful.
And from England, from Scotland, we came back to the United States and we all had liberty then to go home for a few weeks or so. Come back to Brooklyn Navy Yard, met an armada. We met off Norfolk, Virginia, and we went November 8th, November 8th, 1942, the invasion of North Africa.
Oh, really?
At dawn, on that morning at sunrise, we bombarded Casablanca. The whole flotilla of ships in the column were just blasting away. And the ironic thing about that is our ship got hit by an 8-inch shell, and the gun mount that I was on, an open mount, gun 6 on the port side, the shell hit there just beyond us on the bulkhead, but it wasn't an armor-piercing shell, so that's why I'm here to talk to you.
Wow.
But the concussion, when it hit the bulkhead behind us, blew the 7 of us off the gun. We had the old-fashioned light life jackets that you tied up around your
Yeah.
collar, but everything from our belt waist was all blown off from the concussion.
Oh my.
We all got thrown 10, 15 feet, hit the sponsons, hit the deck and everything, but nobody got killed, and no blood was drawn on anybody, just bruises. But the shell went down 3 decks below on the starboard side of the ship, hit an armored hatch to when it met resistance, and that's when it blew up. 14 guys were seriously injured down there.
What kind of medical facilities did you have on the
We
ship?
had a regular hospital on
Okay,
our ship.
okay.
The big cruiser has
Okay.
had 2 doctors, a dentist, yep. And we
Okay.
were very fortunate on the big ships. And after the battle was over and they cleaned up the compartment and everything else, the base of the shell, 8-inch shell, about 2.5 inches thick, forged on the bottom, Waterville Arsenal, Waterville, New York, 1916, was a World War I shell that hit us.
No. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
And after we secured Casablanca, we sank a cruiser coming out of Casablanca.
Yeah.
The Primanata shows it right over here. Vichy French.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we hit 2 destroyers so badly that they beached themselves so they wouldn't sink in the channel.
Okay.
And from there, after that was all over with, we patrolled the North African coast for German submarines. And we got hit by a torpedo there, but it was a dud. Torpedoes have to make what they call a run before they arm themselves. So the submarine was too close to us when it fired the torpedo, but it hit our hull. You can hear boom, big ricochet through the steel hull. And so then we come back to Norfolk, Virginia, took on supplies, ammunition, fuel, went through the Panama Canal.
Oh, what? Oh, tell me what that was like.
Oh, that was an experience. Just inches between things. So our carriers were made just so that they would fit through there.
Wow.
They needed a shoehorn
Oh
to
my.
get through. And then there's a big freshwater lake there, Katoon Lake. So it's, from what I was told, because we did it with our ship, we put our hoses, our water hoses over the side with a big suction end of them, and we washed the ship down with fresh water.
Oh, there you go. That's called making use of what you
Yep.
what you're
We had
given.
what they call holy stones aboard ship that had the teak wood decks on the ship.
Yeah.
And we threw all our holy stones into the lake.
Oh wow.
So after we went to Panama and had Liberty there overnight, we get out to Pearl Harbor. The first thing we see on the dock waiting for us, 2 big skids of holy stones.
Oh my goodness.
So we had Liberty at Pearl Harbor for a couple of days before we went to the South Pacific. And we went to Guadalcanal and the Rennell Islands and the whole list. Our ship got 12 battle stars, well actually 13. I'm only entitled to 12 because I got off before the last battle of Okinawa.
Okay.
We were at
Wow.
Tinian and Truk, and I
Wow.
have a whole list in there if I
Yeah.
can just look at my
Yeah.
notes.
Oh, sure. I'm gonna just hold up your USS Wichita.
I do with my notes.
Look at American
Oh,
campaign,
right in
Asiatic,
front of me.
Philippine liberation, Philippine Asiatic occupation, victory. Oh my goodness, what a
Yeah,
history!
we got to Iceland. We got to Reykjavik, Iceland.
Oh wow! Oh.
Oh, one of the nice things on let's see, over here, June 5th of 1942, the King of England, King George VI, came aboard our ship. There's a picture of it at Scapa Flow.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. Yeah.
And
Oh, look at this.
there's a picture of King George VI.
Oh,
Now his oldest daughter is the second longest reigning monarch.
product.
in British
I
history.
know. Oh wow.
And here's the magazine that I got. 3 weeks ago, I wrote a letter to the Queen.
You did?
I wrote a letter to the Queen. I sent her a picture of her father, this here picture.
Oh.
And I says, undoubtedly, you have this in your dad's memorabilia, but I said, possibly you don't. So here it is. But I says, he has no idea about the history of the ship that he inspected.
Yeah.
He's as close as me as you are. If I had a 4-foot arm and swing, I would have knocked his head off.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, here's the whole history of the ship that your dad inspected.
Beautiful.
You see, we got
Wow.
this is all the action we had.
Oh,
We were one of the most decorated cruisers there were.
wow.
It's over there. So, 3.5 pages of all the history.
Wow.
Of
How
the
many
stuff.
how many sailors serve on served
a
on
heavy
a
cruiser
ship?
during the war? Approximately 1150, 1200.
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
This was the newest cruiser when the war broke out. It was commissioned in 1939, February 16th, Philadelphia Navy Yard.
Okay.
And why I remember the date, that's my wife's birthday,
Oh, wonderful.
February 16th.
Oh, okay, great.
And the Wasp is in the picture here. She left a few months later, went to the South Pacific and got sunk.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. When you're out in the South Pacific and so on, what does it sound like when you're out? It's when you're pushing toward the next battle. You're pushing toward the next place that they want the ship. Like, how noisy is it? How
It's extremely quiet.
It
There's
is.
nothing like being at sea, and no matter where you look, 360 degrees, the horizon.
the horizon?
I mean, it's the most peaceful place to be when it's calm.
Okay.
But we went through two storms off the Philippines, two of those real typhoons.
What was that like?
That was horrific.
Okay.
I mean, horrific. You had to hang on all the time to everything. We had no meals to eat in that sense. We had sandwiches. And the Joe Pot coffee. There's
Yeah.
always coffee.
Oh, thank God for the
But
coffee. Yeah.
you'd eat a whole on with one hand with that and a whole lot of something else together.
Oh my goodness.
But we had sandwiches during the storms because there's no way of
To get
having
make
China
yeah,
and trays and everything else.
right. Oh my goodness. Can you tell me about any of your buddies on the ship? Who were you? Who?
Yes, I had 18 very close buddies. And for years we had reunions together that I arranged, long weekends, Friday after work. We'd go to bed and breakfast all throughout New England, Maine, Pennsylvania, New York.
Yeah.
And two of them we got so close that I'm Uncle Tom, my wife was Aunt Fran, and they were Uncle Frank and Aunt Marion. That's the couple that went to Scotland with us.
Oh, beautiful.
And we've been to their kids' weddings. They've been on all our kids' weddings. We had weekends together at the beaches and stuff like that. And I wrote to I forget what year it was, naturally after the war. I wrote to the Admiral at the Rosyth Navy Yard because we planned a trip to Scotland. And I said, is there any chance that we could have go through the Navy Yard there?
Yeah.
So I got a letter from him because I told him the dates that we were in Edinburgh for 6 days.
Yeah.
So he wrote me back. I still have the Admiral's letter. I'll give you 2 dates that you and your Navy buddy can come here and tour the Navy base. So the one date I picked. So we get over there and we get to the Royal Marine at the gate. Can I help you? And I show him the letter from the Admiral. Park your car over there. We had to rent a car naturally. So he says, come with me. So we go into a building and he says, Sergeant so-and-so, come here. Sergeant so-and-so, come here. 2 Royal Marines. You get in that Jeep, Mr. Jordan, with your wife. You, Mr. Contorsa, get in that Jeep with your wife.
Oh.
We got 2 different Jeeps.
Oh, wonderful.
So we tour the Navy base, the shipyards and everything. So we come back and pull up where we left off. So the captain of the Marines comes out. He says, hey, Yank, come over here. Oh, come on over here. I want to find out something. He says, who the hell are you guys? He says, what the 2 of you got, we don't even give to our members of Parliament.
Oh my goodness. Good. Oh, that's, oh.
Let alone bring our wives to
Yeah, I know. That's wonderful. Can you tell us about your medals? This is.
Well,
these
I don't remember them all
Oh,
in the
okay.
thing here.
Okay.
But
What means the most? What are the ones that mean the most to you?
well, just about all of them.
Okay,
One's,
good.
one's a good conduct medal. That's the red one on the
Okay.
end here. And I wasn't too good at conduct. I just made the right. I did have a captain's mast. I got 3 days in the brig. And what they call piss and punk. That means bread and water.
Oh,
Baby
okay.
turn. every third day you got a full meal at lunchtime.
Ah.
The Marine Guard would take all the prisoners from the brigs, bring it to the mess hall before the regular
Yeah.
mess to get you prisoners out of there.
Oh my goodness.
And my first day, I was a young kid, 18 years old, and I have a fabulous appetite, which I still do. So I reach over as far as I could go. I think I grabbed 5 or 6 slices of bread. Next thing I know, the Marines Billy Club come back on my hand, and I had to drop them all. I couldn't even pick up the one I was entitled to. He
Oh.
whacked me so hard, I had to go to sick bay because they thought they broke the back of my hand. For about a week or so, I couldn't stretch my fingers out.
Oh my
I mean, the Marines were cruel to the prisoners. They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, not statistically, but
yeah.
just something like that. So I had the cup of water in my left hand, but the right hand, I
Wow.
couldn't put the bread up or nothing.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're all actually important.
Good.
These 4 are from the Korean War. I was back in the Korean War
Oh.
for 15 months.
Oh, tell me about. Yeah, you're the first person I'm talking to who was in the Korean War. Where were you?
I was on a seaplane tender, the biggest one we had, the Pine Island. We operated 2 squads of the big PBM flying boats.
Okay.
We maintained and repaired them, and the crew slept on our ship. And the Pine Island was the one that took Admiral Byrd down to the South Poles. years and years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow, interesting.
But anyway, like I say, on the Wichita, we hit just about every island there was. Running battles with. We went bombarding Guadalcanal one night, and 3 Jap planes come in at us and shooting the machine guns at low level, and we got hit by a torpedo there that was too close. We were so fortunate, really. It's all in the
Yeah.
book here. And the Chicago was behind us, a heavy cruiser. She got hit by 2 aerial torpedoes and got sunk that night.
Oh wow.
A lot of the guys were rescued by the destroyers because they usually don't care for a big ship to stop because there's too many people, it's too big a loss.
Yeah.
So the destroyers, the smaller ships, go in and pick up and rescue people on average most of the time. But years later, my nephew got married and I went to the Stag and I see Henry Pulaski that I went to school with. And I knew he was in the Navy because after we got out in
Yeah.
'46, we met and we used to see each other. And then I didn't see him for years after he got married. And I said, "Hey, Henry, how you doing? You were in the Navy, I remember that." He says, "Yeah, how are you doing?" "Good." I said, "What ship you on?" He said, "Chicago." And I said, "I was on the Wichita."
You were right behind me. Oh
Right
my
behind
God.
me. He was
Wow.
rescued. That was his second ship sunk under. He was on a destroyer one time, got sunk and he was rescued. Yep.
Wow. Wow.
But, and when I was in the Korean War, I got to Hong Kong, got to Japan, Iwakuni, a big Navy base in southern Honshu, made liberties in Tokyo, and got to the Manila in the Philippines, because that's where our patrol planes would do the coast of Korea and the South China Sea, and then come in for repairs or maintenance that our ship performed for them. So that's why we moved different stations. Because it was, if I remember right, there was 4 seaplane tenders there to maintain these planes, the different areas that they patrolled. And the one here, I'm pretty sure it's this one here.
Yeah.
We were at Okinawa, and a storm came up, and they announced away all boats. And this was still dark, like 5:30 in the morning, and I just happened to be topside that morning, and I hear a guy hollering for help, and I look over to port side, where the motor whale boats are tied up, and there's a crewman hanging onto the side. A big wave dumped him on the boat. So
wow.
I yelled twice. I opened the hatch and I hollered, "Man overboard!" And I went out on the boat boom, grabbed a hold of the line, and lowered myself hand over hand, and and I adjusted when the waves were up and down on the boat, and when it's coming up and going down, that's when I dropped myself in the boat. And I grabbed him by his belt buckle and I pulled him back aboard. So it saved his life.
You were so brave. Oh my
You
goodness.
just react. to things.
Yeah.
You don't give nothing a thought. But
Wow.
that, personally, that was
That was, yeah.
it. You know.
Oh my goodness, you were meant to be there, saving his life. Wow. And did you leave the Navy after the Korean War?
Yeah.
And where did you settle? Did you come back to
I'm
Bridgeport?
from Bridgeport originally. I went home.
Yeah.
I had gotten married in '46
Oh.
after I got out of World War II.
Okay.
We had a son, and my wife was pregnant with my second child. I went into I volunteered to go back in the Korean War, and she was fit to be tied. But there was a reason. We thought the communists were going to take over,
Right.
and felt that we needed to. A lot of guys would call back in, but a lot of them volunteered to go back too. But anyway, after we left Pearl Harbor on the Pine Island in the Korean War, the captain said on a inspection day, it was on Saturday, about the second or third day out of Pearl Harbor was a Saturday, personnel inspection. And the captain says, I've got a lot of requests about growing a beard on this cruise. During World War II, my ship wouldn't allow it because of flashbacks, your face would get burned. And
Yeah.
So he said, I have a lot of requests to grow a beard on this cruise. So he said, I'm going to tell you something. 5 Saturdays from today, so that's giving you a good month to start your beards. And if I don't like it, you don't keep it. I'll repeat that again. If I don't like it, you don't keep it. No questions. Well, anyway, that time came. And I'm on the port side with my division all ready for inspection. And I hear the captain coming down, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, shave it, you can keep it. And he had his yeoman taking the name of the division. Shave it, 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 you can keep it. He got to my division. I'm the 4th or 5th in line in the front row. Shave it, shave it, shave it, you can keep it.
Oh, good.
So I felt good. I don't think I bought a picture of that one. I had a beautiful 7.5-inch wax mustache, a nice
Nice beard.
yeah.
Very nice. And how long did you keep it?
Till I told Frances I had a beard.
She said, shave it, shave it, shave it,
She
shave it.
says, fine, keep it till you get home because I don't want your new baby to be scared.
Oh, that's so
So I
fun.
shaved it off when I hit the West Coast.
Okay. Oh. Now, have you traveled back to Pearl Harbor since
No.
the
Oh, yes, I should. What did I say?
and
Yes,
seen the memorial?
I made a trip back to the Arizona.
Yeah.
In Pearl Harbor,
Yeah.
yes, I did.
Well, how emotional was that for you?
Well, I hate to say this, but all these memorials are getting too commercial.
Ah.
And in my opinion, this is strictly my opinion,
Yeah.
it's like having a cake without frosting because it's too commercial.
Okay.
There's no solemnity to it except with personal families that have something to do with some relative
Yeah.
that was on there or family member or something. The rest is
It wasn't what
no.
meant something.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, people get, once they have the sailor who's ever in charge of the little group doing things, but then right away you hear, peep, 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 you know, to my way of thinking, it should be quiet.
Yeah. I went a few years ago, and it was, I think, one of the most reverent places I'd ever been. It was,
No, you
our
have a group
group
that accepts
was
that,
very, it was so
Attendance to
solemn
what it
and
was
so
for,
quiet.
right, yeah,
And yeah.
And just to visualize all them battleships in a row, and that was the only one that they didn't recover.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. All right, what did you do when you left the service? Did your work in the Navy guide your decisions when you left?
I guess to a point it did. It may be, I'm trying to think of a proper word to say, be responsible for things, my actions and so on and so forth, which growing up as a teenager, you know.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
But no, it did, and I got a job with a moving company. Well, everyone I knew took advantage of the 5220 Club. You got so many weeks for unemployment.
Oh, okay.
So we all took advantage of that.
Okay.
And we all had a little John Barleycorn every once in a while.
And you got together, good.
And we all got cars, all, you know, naturally all used cars.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine and I, we paid $100 for a 37 old. We bought $50 in, we chipped in for it and bought it. And we had it for years.
Oh, beautiful.
Never a question who's driving it tonight, who's taking it on a date and so on. We're